Welcome. I will be showing you my results of my thought experiment. How can I plan for hot places? And the first precondition that I thought was that the city must be Autoluw. Now, this isn't because I believe that Autoluw cities are better for humans and way better for financial sustainability, which they are. It is also not only because we need the space that cars take away for some of the things that I will mention. The real reason is that I think it is hypocritical to try to cool down the city while not while first not banning cars, which are a huge contributor to climate change, which actively heats up all parts of the world. And I don't like being hypocritical. Now, I did some thinking in four parts. The first part was laying and tiling the ground. The second was roofs, trees, shade elements, and more. The third part is a surprise. I will talk about it later. And the fourth part are some extra little bits that I found that could also help cooling down the city. All right then, let's start. Part 1. Laying or tiling the ground. We have four contenders for laying or tiling the ground: concrete, asphalt, clinkers, both big and small, and grass. Let's start with concrete. Concrete is very hard, so once you put it in, it's going to last for a long time. However, it cannot soak up water, and it is difficult to lay concrete in a big area, which is why you need to lay it in slabs. It also contributes massively to the urban heat island effect and looks the worst. Asphalt also contributes to the urban heat island effect, a little bit less worse than concrete, but still pretty bad. However, it is the perfect surface for rolling anything: emergency vehicles, cycles, wheelchairs, strollers, trolleys, anything. It looks a bit meh. Some people find it okay, some people don't. Clinkers can be problematic for rolling things over, especially the smaller ones. I definitely would not have an ambulance drive over these small cobblestone clinkers. But they look great. They are very easy to maintain and to put down, to lay down, and they don't contribute as much to the urban heat island effect. Grass actively fights back against the urban heat island effect and looks so good. Grass looks so good, especially grassy tram tracks. But grass and soil is malleable, so you can't really roll anything above it. You can walk, of course, but grass takes labor to keep it straight, even, and on a low height. So with that in mind, let's look at a quick chart that I made. So here you can see the tier list that I made. It is all in a chart or in a table. You can pause the video if you want to look at it in detail. And then I assigned points to each tier and I added all of the points together. And as you can see, asphalt won, and grass and clinkers both share the second place. Now again, this isn't quantitative, it is qualitative. But still, this isn't what I hoped for. I hoped that grass and clinkers would win because obviously they um, do not contribute much to the urban heat island effect. But asphalt is just too useful. Luckily, there is a solution. You see, we made the whole city Autoluw already, so that means we don't need a lot of asphalt. Just one lane of asphalt, or 1.5 lanes of asphalt for most streets. And it's even better, even if we have 1.5 lanes of asphalt, it could be covered with trees, for example. Speaking of trees, that brings us to part two. Trees, shade elements, roofs, coverings. Basically, what should be built above ground. You should plant trees on every street that is wide enough. They have so many benefits, not just for hot countries. They provide shade, they fight against the urban heat island effect, they absorb water, they convert carbon dioxide to oxygen. They look great. Okay, well, maybe these vanilla trees don't look so great, but real life trees will look much better. They break the wind if you want to. We'll get to that in a minute. They can provide you with fruits if they are fruit trees, and wood. If they are dense enough, they can protect you from rain. They prevent landslides because the roots hold up the ground, and way more. The only downsides are maybe that you need labor to keep them up. There are space concerns, maybe. This is a 13-meter wide street, so maybe this wouldn't fit in all streets. And visual pollution, so you can't see the night sky when it is night, for example. But that's a maybe because trees can also block buildings that look bad, for example. If a street is narrow enough, then you can connect the two buildings with asphalt, and you can connect the two buildings overground with a thin covering out of preferably a material with a high albedo, so it reflects most of the sunlight and can cover the asphalt, so the asphalt will not receive any sunlight. The same can be true for all public transit stops, tram stops, bus stops, any overground at grade transit stops. What if there are flat roofs in my city? What should they be out of? How arid an area is should define if that area has flat roofs or if the roofs are slanted. If the roofs are flat and if the place is arid, well, then there's a big chance that there is a lot of sunlight. So, should the roofs there have solar panels, or maybe even grass, or some other material? Well, I'm sorry, but no solar panels, because solar panels heat up a lot, and I mean a lot when sun shines on them. They contribute to the urban heat island effect way too much. So sorry, your solar panels must be a few kilometers away from the city, even if the losses from the long wires is notable. The alternatives, a lot of solar panels in the city, is worse for our goal of planning for hot places. So then, should they be grass? Well, grass takes labor to keep even, to keep it low. And when it's on a roof, you don't exactly want to climb onto the roof every single time and, maintain the lawn. But there are special buildings that have grass roofs on the first floor, and you can access them by the second floor. Like this stepped building. This is a school building, and it has access to a grassy roof from the second floor. So the answer is it should probably just be big bricks or oak planks, or preferably a material that has a high albedo and can reflect as much sunlight as it can. Use what is locally available, and something preferably with a high albedo. Step wells are wells in which you can step down and get water. They are also a great third place in some places. Many ancient high cultures used them, like the Indian culture. And I think it's probable that the Romans used them too, as well as other high cultures, but I don't know about other high cultures. Unfortunately, we don't build stepwells anymore. Instead, we just build underground rooms with ACs. I want to bring back this simple way of cooling your city without expending any energy. But you see, stepwells are bigger than wells, so they would be farther apart, and there shouldn't be very many of them. If you want to make them a third place, then you need to make them spacious. Hey, wait a minute. To get to a stepwell, people need to go down to access the water. To, to get to a metro station that's underground, and yes, metro stations should be underground in hot places because cold air goes to the bottom. People need to descend down into the station. Metro stations are expensive, so they should be far apart and there shouldn't be too many of them. Same as stepwells. What if we could have combined them? This is the overpowered combination I will now be showing you. This is what it could look like. From above, you have the entries with the stairs as well as some entry points with elevators that I have not built because it is just to show the point. You can decorate the inside how you want. I decided to go with quartz and stuff. Here is the actual platform for the metro. Again, you can choose any design you want, preferably a design that is local and gives your city an identity. And you can obviously make another metro platform this side. And the real good thing is the stepwell down here. People in wheelchairs can still access this upper part. Unfortunately, not the lower part. If I were to make ramps that go down here, they would just be way too long. But hey, even up here, the air is going to be so much cooler because sunlight never reaches this place. Cold air flows to the bottom, and because we have water below, this place will be a solid 4 to 6 degrees colder than the outside. That's my guess. Maybe even more, who knows? And of course, people who aren't disabled can step down. They can sit here on the stairs. Maybe even swim in the pool, maybe. Not the pool, the stepwell. Although I'm not sure if this is a good idea, because the water levels can rise and drop, and maybe other hygienic implications. But in any case, this stepwell doesn't need to be this size. It can be larger, smaller. You can make this a different size, different decorations. It's to show the point. And people can wait here in the cool stepwell and then go into the metro, and maybe when they exit the metro they will be greeted with another stepwell here and then go to their destination. We do not build stepwells anymore. I find that quite sad. So now for the miscellaneous things. Power lines should be above ground when using clinkers or grass. The reason is that we don't want to disturb the clinkers or grass each time we want to change the power lines, which happens often in cities. Freiburg im Breisgau has these cool rainwater canals um, in which people can put their feet in. And because the rainwater is only rainwater, it is safe for people to put their feet inside. Be a street, and people can just sit here and put their feet inside, which is also a great way to cool off. And yeah, you can also find other ways to cool off your city.